A reading from the book of Joshua. Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel together at Shechem. Then he called the elders, leaders, judges, and scribes of Israel, and they presented themselves before God. Then Joshua said to all the people, "The Lord, the God of Israel, says this: In ancient days your ancestors lived beyond the river. Such was Terah, the father of Abraham and of Nahor, and they served other gods. Then I brought your father Abraham from beyond the river, and led him through all the land of Canaan. I increased his descendants and gave him Isaac. To Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. To Esau I gave the mountain country of Seir as his possession. Jacob and his sons went down into Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and plagued Egypt with the wonders that I worked there. So I brought you out of it. I brought your ancestors out of Egypt, and you came to the sea. The Egyptians pursued your ancestors with chariots and horsemen as far as the Sea of Reeds. There they called to the Lord, and he spread a thick fog between you and the Egyptians, and made the sea go back on them and cover them. You saw with your own eyes the things I did in Egypt. Then, for a long time, you lived in the wilderness, until I brought you into the land of the Amorites who lived beyond the Jordan. They made war on you, and I gave them into your hands. You took possession of their country because I destroyed them before you. Next, Balak, son of Zippor, the king of Moab, arose to make war on Israel, and sent for Balaam, son of Beor, to come and curse you. But I would not listen to Balaam. Instead, he had to bless you, and I saved you from his hand. When you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho, those who held Jericho fought against you, as did the Amorites and Perizzites, the Canaanites, Hittites, Girgashites, Hivites, and Jebusites, but I put them all into your power. I sent out hornets in front of you, which drove the 2 Amorite kings before you. This was not the work of your sword or your bow. I gave you a land where you never toiled. You live in towns you never built. You eat now from vineyards and olive groves you never planted. The Word of the Lord. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Some Pharisees approached Jesus, and to test him they said, "Is it against the law for a man to divorce his wife on any pretext whatever?" He answered, "Have you not read that the Creator from the beginning made them male and female, and that he said, 'This is why a man must leave father and mother and cling to his wife, and the 2 become one body'? They are no longer 2, therefore, but one body. So then, what God has united, man must not divide." They said to him, "Then why did Moses command that a writ of dismissal should be given in cases of divorce?" "It was because you are so unteachable," he said, "that Moses allowed you to divorce your wives, but it was not like this from the beginning. Now I say this to you, the man who divorces his wife, I am not speaking of fornication, and marries another, is guilty of adultery." The disciples said to him, "If that is how things are between husband and wife, it is not advisable to marry." But he replied, "It is not everyone who can accept what I have said, but only those to whom it is granted. There are eunuchs born that way from their mother's womb. There are eunuchs made so by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves that way for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let anyone accept this who can." The Gospel of the Lord.